Hello, fellow menstruators and supporters, and those who would like to be or have been in the past. We are meeting here again for our monthly My Period Data is Mine community event. We have Marcel
Hiya.
and you have me. My name is Daniela. Hello. And we would like to give you a brief introduction to My Period Data is Mine, why it is important, what happens if you use somebody else's application, and then a call to action on what you personally can do and how to move forward. So let's get started. What is My Period Data is Mine? My Period Data is Mine is a period tracker. It's in the name, really. It tracks, or you enter data so you can track your period. It is not the application itself that tracks your period. It is you who is in charge, you who enters the data, you who has access to the data, nobody else. And that is what is different between us or our product and other people's products, because you are the only person who has access to the data. The data is held on your phone. It is not in the cloud. It is not sent over the network. It is not somewhere copied to a third party. There are no advertisers. It is not going to be leaked. It's not going to be sold. It's not going to be stolen. Only you have it. We don't have access to it either. And that's that. Sorry, Marcel, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, we also don't use third-party analytics, which is the cornerstone of the case against Flow. I don't know if you wanted to go into that.
Exactly, that's where I was heading to. When I said other people's products, because there are many out there. As Marcel mentioned, today I would like to hone in on Flow. Flow, as spelled as in FLO, is one of the most popular period trackers out there. It has some nice features, and it appears it may be selling your data or it is leaking your data, whatever happened. I'm not entirely sure, but the data you entered into Flow is now in third party hands or third parties who, I don't know who has your data. It's not my data, it's your data that you paid somebody money to keep safe. And they violated your trust, and somebody else has it now, and you don't know who else has that data. How do we know? Well, it's all in the press. Recently, Flow has settled, or more importantly, Flurry, the company that supposedly illegally got their hands on that data, and Flow, they have settled for a measly 3.5 million. The reason being that Flurry Inc. has gone out of business. Yes, they are bankrupt. Is that not convenient as that happens just before they have to pay up? They go bankrupt, so there's no money for anyone else other than themselves. Make your own mind up. All I know is that people pay for Flow. Flow did not keep the data safe. Somebody else has the data. That other party has now conveniently gone bankrupt, and people are stranded with very little payout. And they will continue to seek compensation from Flow and Google and Meta.
I thought Flow was a free app.
Well, were all of the features free though?
I don't know the details, but
Let me
Flow was
check.
described as a free app. You didn't have to pay to use it.
Let me double check. Thank you for correcting me there. I really do appreciate that. And anyone out there as well, do write in if you hear that I say something incorrect. I will double check. That makes me think. Well, if it's for free and if it's that good, who is paying the bills for Flow? As people say, if you're not eating dinner, you may be the dinner yourself. So be careful out there. Do be aware that not everyone has your best interest at heart, especially if something is for free. Do look at the business model. Who is paying the bills? Who keeps the lights on? It is rather expensive running an operation like that. We should know. The reason why we can't put more time and effort towards this project is because we have bills to pay. It's one of those things. Feel free to support us. We do have a donation link on our website. We do have it on Mastodon as well. And we also have the link everywhere on YouTube. So please feel free to sponsor us, and you will see the product an awful lot sooner available for download. Now, for all those out there who think that, oh, it's been a long time coming, yes, because it takes a lot of time, it takes effort to make something like this. And I am using the prototype already myself. I find it very useful and easy to enter the information. The next step that I think must be there before we can actually share it is, first of all, a slightly more structured way of entering the data. So we've sat down, we've talked about that as well already, that we now have a data structure. So it's easier to know what the symptoms are, which categories. Is it a symptom that is physical in the body, or is it a symptom like being fatigued or having cramps? Or, sorry, not having cramps, that falls into the body, but being fatigued, being irritable is one of my least favorite parts of having my period personally, and or feeling really down for a few hours in a day and things like that, making it very clear and easy for people to enter the information. And for me personally, it is also to find the data. And I imagine myself sitting in the gynecologist's office and having an informed conversation about what's happening with my body. And it's always good to bring the data with you. And that's where our app again will be better than the others, in my opinion, because you will be able to filter and analyze incredibly well. So it's really quick to know, oh, on which days did I have, I don't know, a UTI? When was my bladder irritated? When was it my right ovary that was aching rather than my left one? And things like that. It's really important to be able to do that. And also to be able to do that whilst on flight mode or having geolocation switched off, because guess what? That information is also being sold by various companies out there. So be mindful where you switch your phone on. Our app does not need the internet, it needs no connection, because there is no connection, there's no upload to anyone else. The data stays on your phone and you can do with it as you please.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And I think it's worth looking into Flow's defence against this case. And I was having a look at the legal brief that they submitted to the court, and they acknowledge that they used third-party analytics. They acknowledge that they did share device identifiers, which they argue is not personal information because it's not your name and things like that. But the plaintiffs say, well, you can identify me through my device. And if any other application, Facebook, uses my device, they also get that device identifier. So you are connecting the person to the other applications they use, and there's other information available. So, when you're using third-party analytics, the device identifier is a key component that links you to that data, even if they promise for it to be so-called anonymized. Another interesting point in their defense is that the use of third-party analytics is considered a social norm. You should expect them to use third-party analytics. You should expect data to be sent elsewhere. You should expect that because all applications do that. That's actually part of the defense, that we are so used to our data being shared that you should not expect it to be private. That the users cannot expect privacy when they've acknowledged the fact in the privacy policy that third-party analytics are being used. They should not expect privacy, right, for your pregnancy and even your period data, because apparently people share that kind of information on Facebook. So that's no longer private information. And it's interesting the stance, the stance being that from a basic point of view, you shouldn't expect your period tracking information to be private, because that's not what normally happens. That's not how period tracking apps work. And I think that's an interesting stance and an interesting defense, right? To say that no, all period trackers share information. Therefore, you shouldn't expect us to not also to share it. And I think this is where my period data is mine is key, because we start off with privacy being fundamental. We start off with the fact that your data is encrypted within the application, not relying on the phone encryption mechanism, but it has its own encryption built into the application. And that the data stays on your phone. It never leaves your phone. Whether it's third-party analytics or being sold directly or not, The data is your data. You decide what to do with it, nobody else. And I think, we need to really highlight that, to our users. That if you do have an expectation that your period data is private information, then the only application you'll be able to use is My Period Data is Mine. Because apparently all period tracking information is not private, and therefore you shouldn't expect it.
Exactly. But the world is currently not a good place out there, in my opinion. Rights have been taken away from women left, right, and centre. Our little project is one way of holding against it. As Flow acknowledges, it's the norm to take advantage of your data, and I think, or we think, it is not the norm. It shouldn't be the norm. And the only way we can change the norm is by making something that is different, making something that normalizes privacy, that makes it normal to have full control over our own data. So join us any which way you like. As I mentioned, donations are always welcome. The more money we get, the more we can focus on it. That does not take a lot of money at all. So even if it's just a buy me a coffee donation, we much appreciate it. Alternatively, if you know how to do user interface design and make things look beautiful, that will be appreciated as well. Even if you just have questions or want to ask us anything, email in and we can give a response to that. Privacy is very important. So if you think, oh, you don't want to use your own email or something, well, use a throwaway email address and we simply put the answers on our website, on our Mastodon, and also into our calls. Your privacy is the one thing we're after. And now for the cynics out there, and I am one of them, is what's in it for us? Well, self-protection for me is one of them. I do also have family members who were born, were not born menstruating, but were born with the capability to menstruate at some point in their lives. Women largely. And so, yeah, I would like them to have a better future than what we live through right now. I want them to be free of any of those privacy worries. And in order to do that, we really have to put a little bit of our own time and effort down. This is what I feel I should put my time towards. I need the product myself. And as I said, if other people can benefit from it, the better. Help us.
And if you believe that period data should be private, right, as private as any other health data, then also let us know. Or if you don't, let us know as well. If you don't think period data should be private because it should be public and everyone should be out there, that's also a point of view that would be interesting to have. But from what I know, having worked in the health industry, people are very worried about their health data not being kept private, right? And I think your period data is part of your health data, and therefore deserves privacy.
Exactly. Very much aligned here. And yes, I would like to understand if anyone out there thinks that period data should not be private. I'd like to hear the arguments and understand what those people think. So you have to write in. I may not change my mind, but sorry?
It's part of Flow's defense.
Yes.
That it's not private data, so it doesn't deserve an expectation of privacy.
Yes. I'm going to keep my private thoughts to myself for a moment because that would be sidetracking the call now. And back to the call. Join us, help us, donate to us. Whatever you do, whatever you would like to do, stay connected. We are so much closer to releasing the first version. Feedback is always welcome. So if you want to be an early user and want to have it on your phone already as well, do tell us. The only problem is that because we don't have access to your phone or anything on your phone connected to the app, if there is any support need, we would have to find a way of making that happen. But given that currently I've not yet come across a single issue on the app, that shouldn't be an issue. So if you want to be an early user, write in again. use a throwaway, a one-use email address if you want to. I don't insist on knowing you, unless you want to be friends, in which case, welcome. But otherwise, your privacy is the most important thing to us, and that is because my privacy is the most important thing to me, and everyone should have the same rights. Good. That was it for me from. Oh, that was it from me for today. I will keep an eye on what's going to happen with the Flow case, if there's going to be a follow-on lawsuit or not, if other reps are being found out is the first thought that came into my head. But if other applications like that have similar issues, let's call it that way. And then we will meet again next week in September, third Tuesday in September, 4 p.m. UTC. Until then, bye bye.
Bye.